Hey there, this is Clay, and today I want to talk about a myth that maybe some of the guys out there have fallen into when it comes to getting your ex-girlfriend back or ex-wife back. You see, Mika and I, we were talking to a coaching client a week or so ago, and he had mentioned that, he went out on, a little bit of a shopping spree, and he bought like a whole bunch of these different ebooks and stuff on the subject of getting back together after a breakup. Before he found us and started working with us and all that. And he told us that the core message of most of these books was that you need to become the alpha male. You need to like really flex your nuts and show her how big your is, right? Okay, maybe not. But what you need to do, what they say to do is that you need to really show like dominance and superiority and all that stuff. And that's not necessarily going to work. He didn't think that would work for him because he already was like the alpha male kind of guy. And that's one of the reasons why his ex left him, is because she couldn't feel connected to him emotionally. And the big myth that I want to talk about today is this myth that you need to be the alpha male. You're too much of a nice guy wussy or something like that. And you need to be the alpha male to dominate her and claim her or something like that. But that's not what you need to do, because as we talk about inside the program, there's like this dichotomy between, collapse and posture. Collapse, that's the whole, typical nice guy thing where you bend over backwards to the doormat, all that stuff. And then there's posturing, which is where you're, the badass alpha male, I'm going to punch you in the face and ask questions later kind of guy. And a lot of guys think that, okay, nice guy bad, nice guy finishes last, I don't want to be the nice guy, therefore I have to become the alpha male, I have to become the bad boy, I have to become the jerk. And that's not really true, because you see both extremes of this continuum, both extremes are fundamentally based on managing anxiety. The nice guy is managing anxiety. He's managing his anxiety about, oh my God, what if she doesn't like me? What if she rejects me? What if all this stuff? And he's doing that by bending over backwards. He's trying to manage that anxiety by pleasing her, by being pleasant, by being nice, by doing favors for her in the hopes that she will be like, you know what, he's a really nice guy. You know what? I know he's been licking my boots for the past couple of weeks and all that, and I think I'm gonna reward him by allowing him to be my boyfriend. That's kind of the maybe subconscious thinking of the nice guy. I don't think he overtly thinks that. But anyway, so that obviously doesn't work. That way of managing anxiety doesn't work. But what you may not realize is that the alpha male, the badass, the posturing kind of guy, that's also a form of managing anxiety too. That's a form of managing anxiety where, you don't want to let anyone see you as weak. You don't want to let anyone see you as like having any sort of potential weakness. You don't want to let people see you cry. You don't want to let people see you have like emotions aside from like anger or indifference, or occasionally like sometimes happiness if you get like a badass bike or something like that. And that doesn't work either. It's very difficult to connect with a person like that on an emotional level because they have such a narrow spectrum of emotions available to them, right? They have like anger, they have like indifference, they have like happiness, and that's it. Do you really want to have a relationship with someone who only feels those like three things? I don't. I imagine probably most people out there don't either. Most people out there want to have a relationship with someone who can have every range of emotion possible, who's going to cry at funerals, who's going to, be astonished and amazed at the beauty of life when their son or daughter is born, who's going to, be able to just enjoy small moments together, like on weekends, just watching, children playing in the park or whatever. There's so much more to life than just happiness, anger, and indifference. And when you try to become the badass so much that you really choke off your ability to have any sort of emotion whatsoever, then you're really doing more harm than you really want to in your attempts to get back together with your ex. So like what we recommend inside the X Solution program, what I'd recommend for you is that you realize that this whole dichotomy is a bankrupt game. Both extremes are stupid, both extremes are not going to serve you in any way whatsoever, and instead to just give up trying to manage your anxiety at all. Instead, you can go ahead and use the exercises that we teach you inside the program to develop this kind of integrated personality where you don't have to play that game whatsoever. You can just kind of know what you want, go after it, and you know what, screw it if you step on a couple people's toes along the way, and if someone sees you cry, whatever, it's just an honest expression of you. It's genuine, and you're just so grounded in your body that it's not unattractive to see you cry or anything like that. And when you think about it, most of the really badass people out there, they aren't sitting there flexing their nuts and bragging about how much of a badass they are. They're just out there doing their thing and just being exceptionally well at what they do. They don't have to posture about it or anything like that. They're just kind of quietly over there just being a badass. And that's kind of what we're recommending for you. So I hope this helps you out. And if you'd like to learn more about how you can get back together with the woman that you love without having to be the badass alpha male or the pushover nice guy, please head on over to relationshipinnergame.com. Thanks.